Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody today to our annual media day, ONU Baseball. Thanks for coming. First thing I want to do is introduce myself and the players I have with me today. My name is Coach Reid. I'm the head baseball coach here at Olivet Nazarene. This is my 8th season. On the far end is Madison Foster. Is a junior pitcher, first baseman this year for us. Has played some outfield in the past. But we spend a lot of time on the mound and at first base this year. Next to him is David Cericola, sophomore right-handed pitcher. Nearest to me is Josh Altmann, who is a junior infielder for us. So what I'll do is I'll give a quick summary of where we're at to this point in our 2014-2015 season, and then we'll open it up for some questions for you guys to ask. So we are 8 games into our 2014-2015 schedule at this point. As some of you may know, the NAIA has adopted a rule allowing its baseball programs to compete and play in up to 12 games in the fall semester that count towards their 2015 season. So this fall, in October, we played 5 games that counted toward our official statistics and season number of games. We traveled to Indiana Wesleyan University the first weekend in October and swept the Wildcats there at IWU, and then returned home. And the second weekend of October, we hosted St. Ambrose University from Iowa. Interestingly, St. Ambrose will be joining our conference a year from now, so it's a good glimpse of getting a chance to see them, and hosted them for a 3-game series here at Watson Field. We lost the opener to St. Ambrose, but came back and won games 2 and 3, and so won the series and finished the fall portion of our schedule at 4 and 1. Then we had about a 4-month layoff, and then reopened our season 2 weekends ago at Bethel University in McKenzie, Tennessee. This is my 8th year. I mentioned coaching. This is the 8th consecutive year we went down and played Bethel down there in McKenzie. This year we were very fortunate, played in 3 close games, but won all 3 and swept the series. It's the first time in my tenure anyway that we have went down and swept Bethel. They always have a good program, and going down and play a school in the South and coming away with wins is always something positive. So we felt very good about that. Didn't play our best baseball, at least I hope not, and have a lot of things that we need to go back to work on. But it was a good opening for us, and to win the series, sweep the series, was very positive. So that's where we're at. We stand at 7 and 1 overall. Our next games are kind of up in the air. We're actually still hoping that there might be a possibility we could play somewhere this coming weekend. We don't know that yet. We were scheduled one more time to go down to Tennessee, to Nashville, to play Bethel, Indiana. We were both going down and had secured a field in Nashville, and we're going to play down there. But Nashville and much of the South is having a winter, kind of like we're having a winter. So it's been tough for a lot of teams all over the country to get games in. So we're still tentatively trying to do that. It's more likely, however, that our next games would be on our spring trip. We fly to Tucson, Arizona on March the 7th and play that same day. And then on that trip, while the Olivet is on spring break, we'll be down there the whole week in Tucson and play 12 games in the Tucson Invitational before returning home and then beginning conference play after that. So that's where we're at in our season. Again, we've got Madison, David, and Josh here, and myself. So I want to open it up to some questions from our media members today, and we'll take questions. If you have, if they are for a specific player or myself, just let us know that, and then we'll do our best to answer the question. So, who would like to be first? Yes, Laura.
What do you see as the team's greatest strengths this year?
It's Laura Warfel asking what our team's greatest strengths are this year. When do you guys want to start?
I'll start us. I believe that this year, for our team especially, I think one of our greatest strengths is some of our youth, actually. A lot of our freshman incoming players have really offered a lot so far in these first 8 games. They've shown us a lot of versatility, whether that being coming off the bench or even in a starting role. A lot of those freshmen, I think, should be credited to a lot of these wins as to where we've been at so far. And I also think that even with freshmen, there also comes a lot of leadership, especially from guys that aren't seniors on this team. Even, Cericola and Foster being juniors and sophomores on this team, maybe not quite looked at as senior leaders on this team. I believe that guys like these two especially have been able to be a leader, whether that be on or off the field, for a lot of those young guys. But like I said, I would attribute a lot of the strengths is to our youth and to how that they've came in and really shown their strengths inside our program.
What do you guys want to add to that at all?
This year coming in, we have quite a few new freshman pitchers, and something I've noticed is that a lot of these guys are coming in and they're curious about building velocity, developing their pitches, something that I didn't really feel was there last year. So I feel like the work ethic this year is 10 times better than it was last year. We have a lot of guys that want to get better, they're curious how, they ask a lot of questions, and they're willing to put in the work to do that.
Yeah, go ahead, next question.
Madison, last year you really had a breakout year offensively. Was there a specific thing that triggered that, or just another year of experience? What was the leading point of that breakout year for you?
I mean, I definitely think both things come into play. You've seen college pitching now, which is a lot different than high school. High school is pretty predictable, but once you get to college, everyone throws moderately hard. Everyone has 3 pitches that they can throw for strikes, so that was a big adjustment. But for me, I think I come out of high school and we had a very successful 4 years when I was in high school, and I think I took for granted how hard you have to work in college, and I think just the extra hours that I put in the off season, and really letting the coaches work through me, and I definitely think that just the hard work I put in the off season is kind of what triggered that.
Sure.
Where you see yourself in the conference, nationally, Midwest, last year, record-wise, maybe wasn't where you wanted to be, but starting the year 7-1 and moving forward, Arizona and the conference play, what are your expectations?
Sure. That's Nick Berkey, our men's sports information director, and debt of gratitude to Nick and to Wendy Reid for helping us set up today and putting together statistical reports for our media. Nick asked, where I see our team this year, and as noted, we made our conference tournament last year, but certainly not a season that would be indicative of the last 17 years of success that we've had in our program. Where I would see us is back in the hunt to win CCAC South and regular season championship, and our number one goal is to get back to Lewiston, which is the NAI College World Series, and we haven't been there since 2002 and 2003, so that's our number one goal. I will say I think we're a better team. Back to Laura's question about our strength, even though on paper it looks like, and we did lose our top 2 arms. Stephen Beckham and Jonathan Fightmaster had great careers here, and so I think that would be one of the first question marks on our team is our pitching. However, I would really see that as one of our strengths. The guys mentioned we have some good freshman arms, but we also have we had a couple additions that we typically don't have a lot of transfer students come in, but we had a couple additions this year. And along with guys getting better, really makes pitching a strength for us. We also have Josh Rebant, who's our new pitching coach. This is the first time we've had two full-time grad assistants in our program, and Josh, along with Seth Eller, are a huge factor for us. And Josh comes with a big pitching background, and so Josh and the pitchers he has to work with. Stephen Martin's a one-year transfer from Clearwater, who's going to add not only ability but a lot of experience as a senior pitcher. Blake Altmann is a junior transfer from ICC here in Illinois, and so both those two guys added to the mix of what freshmen we have and returners we have. I see our pitching as really a strength. I would say that I really feel like as good as we are, we're a much better team than a year ago. It's been a great start, but I will say the CCAC, in particular on the south side, is probably as strong as it's ever been, and so I think it'll be a battle for us. Our goal is certainly I put us in the mix to win the CCAC South, but I really feel like there's probably 5 teams that have a legitimate opportunity, both on paper and just realistically, to win the South. You know, the last 5 years, one of 2 teams has won our division, and that's been either Olivet or St. Francis. They won it last year. The 2 previous years we had won the South Division. And I would look for those 2 teams to be very good again. They're going to be a very tough team to beat. But there are other schools in the South that have gotten a lot better and that will really vie this year to be South champs. That's Trinity Christian has a good program over the last couple years. Holy Cross has developed very shortly into a quality program, even though this is now going to be their last year of their program's existence. But so they're going to play. They're a very good team, senior loaded team, and a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because they are canceling their program after the season. So Purdue North Central, another team in the South that will compete. So there's really, like I say, I think 5 teams that really have a very good opportunity to win the South. So it'll be a grind all year long. You guys want to add anything to where you think we're at?
I think that's pretty good.
Okay.
Last year, your team averaged 4.5 runs a game, which was the lowest your team has averaged since you've been here at Olivet. Are you guys working on anything specific this year to address that, or are you just allowing your younger players to mature? Maybe some of the other guys can answer that as well, but increasing offense this year, what's your plan?
Well, I'll give you two things. One, I think the low offensive production last year was a lot due to just how young we were. The season before, we graduated 10 seniors, 8 of which were positional starters, so 8 out of our 9 positional starters. And so really we had some players I felt like playing last year in younger roles just out of necessity. You know, they were good players by all accounts. But in other years, they would have been players that would have gotten a chance to develop. And like Madison said, learn how to hit college pitching and develop and get better. Where last year we just kind of they got kind of thrown into the fire. So that's one. I think we won't have to do that this year. I feel like there will be a couple freshmen on the field for us offensively, but not like it was a year ago. We've got a lot of veterans returning and a good group of guys offensively. Yeah, I think the second piece to that is, again, having 2 full-time grad assistants this year. Seth Eller had a great career at Mount Vernon Nazarene, one of our sister schools, and having a specific pitching and hitting guy working with us this year has really allowed guys a lot of one-on-one time with Coach Eller, and that I think it will pay big dividends for us this year. Now, we didn't score a ton of runs down at Bethel, but you know, we played in 38 and 36 and 32 degree weather. We pitched well enough to win and had some good moments offensively. So I think my expectations when we get to Tucson, you know, you'll really see how well we can play offensively. So, you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll add to that. I also believe moving on from last year as well, with that being a very kind of low point of not scoring a lot of runs. I also would like to express some of my gratitude towards Coach E, especially for the work that he's just put in for a lot of our hitters this year. I think that is definitely, even in these first 8 games, I think it's shown that the hitters are getting the extra work, whether that be on their own or even with Coach, to just put in that extra effort, whether it be in situational hitting or just times to hit off the tee, or even if it's just working, even if it's just skull sessions, just being able to talk about hitting philosophies and things like that. It's giving guys a lot of mental training in the game, and as we all know, baseball is a big majority mental, and as long as we can focus in on those times, I think the situational hitting with runners in scoring position, those runs will eventually cross home plate, and scoring more than 4.5 runs a game, I think for our team will be a lot better this coming year than it was in previous year.
Madison, you want to share anything? Last year you hit leadoff for us. This year you're going to hit. You and Josh have been hitting 3-4 so far this season. You want to share your thoughts about hitting in the middle of the lineup as opposed to leading off?
It's definitely going to be a change. Hitting a leadoff, I'm not a very tall guy, so you're not really thinking a whole lot of power coming out of this player, so you get a lot more pitches that are out over the plate. But being a 3-hitter, you're seeing a lot more off-speed pitches, seeing a lot more pitches off the plate, and so I think that was the biggest adjustment for me, at least in Bethel. I did really poorly on Friday and then opened it up on Saturday because my biggest thing is you got to stop thinking. That was my problem earlier this year. That was my problem early last year. It's just you can't go up to the plate thinking. And I think that's going to be my biggest key this year is in the 3-hole. You can't think. Can't go up thinking, oh, 3-hole, I'm going to see all this off speed. I'm not going to see pitches to hit, because you'll get your pitches. It's just I think as a 3-hole hitter, the biggest thing is capitalizing on those pitches, because, if you see that cookie right down the middle, you're not going to see that pitch again the rest of the at-bat. So.
Good.
Dave, any personal goals this season?
Personal goals?
Personal goals as far as stats or anything you're looking for on the mound?
Number-wise, stat-wise, not particularly a number for anything. What I'm focusing on this season and what I've been focusing on this past summer is building velocity, being consistent in the upper 80s range, start to get to lower 90s. Probably the biggest thing that I'm working on right now is I have a new pitch, a splitter, that I've been developing since this last summer. Didn't work on it too much in the fall. Got really into it this winter and the start of this season. So far it's been pretty effective. I'm excited to see how that does when it comes to game time. But another big thing for me is last year I was probably more of a head case out on the mound than I have been in my career so far as a player, and I think that was just pressure of being a freshman, starting out on the mound Friday, Saturday, weekend games. So I feel like I've settled in now. I'm a lot more comfortable with my mechanics now, so I feel like mentally I'm more prepared as well as physically now too. So.
Let me share a little bit about specifically just about these 3 guys. I mentioned Madison has been hitting third for us and will be a big part of our offense. But he also will be one of our top 4 starters and has already produced, pitched probably our best game down at Bethel last weekend. They scored 1 run in his time on the mound. It was a Texas leaguer over the shortstop's head that we probably should have caught, but that was the only run he gave up down there. And so he'll be one of our only 2-way players. Will be a big factor for us at the plate as well as on the mound. And David, just in his sophomore year, has really solidified himself as someone I feel like can be a number 1 starter, a Friday night starter. He's as good as anybody in the league, and his work ethic in particular and how he approaches his craft is really something that is great for our younger guys to see. I remember in his second start of his career last year, we're playing Jamestown University, a very good program, and David had lost that game, but the coach came up to me afterwards and had really high praise for him and said that while he was even just warming up, he gathered his pitchers and had them watch David go through his pregame routine. How professional he was about it, how focused and locked in he was, and that's something that we see every day. Sometimes we take for granted how competitive he is, how professional he is at what he does, but I'm really excited. He had a tough start last year in his first few outings, but ended up throwing 4 complete game shutouts at the end of the year, and just really, really impressive, and I know he'll carry that into this season. And finally, Josh, most of you know Josh played every day at shortstop for us last year, and he's going to play the majority there of time there this season as well, but also will spend some time at first base. First base is a position that we really, coming out of the fall, didn't have a locked-in guy, and so Madison has stepped up and played some first base. We'll play Josh over there. And Josh is one of those guys that on our team that I feel like he'll hit 4-hole for us, and I'm not sure that he'll hit double-digit home runs, although I think he's capable of that. But he's somebody that he will never be overmatched at the plate. No matter who we're facing, he'll never be overmatched. Part of that is the experience he gained last summer, playing in one of the best collegiate leagues in the nation, in the Alaska League, and so just very excited for him. And then we have good leadership all around. One of our senior leaders is Stefan Sauter, who arrived on campus 4 years ago as a walk-on, and made our club, and two shoulder surgeries later, he's still a big part of who we are, just as much off the field as well as on. On the field, he's going to get some time. He DH'd a game for us at Bethel. He'll get some pinch hit opportunities, but he also really is the catalyst for our running game. And most of you guys know we're very aggressive on the bases, and I know I talked to some of those who listened to our broadcast over the weekend, and the broadcasters couldn't get over how aggressive and how good Stefan Sauter was on the bases this weekend, and so he'll be a big part of that. So, any other questions? Anybody else? Okay, I'll just kind of let you know where we're at from here. We most like our next games will be March 7th in Tucson, Arizona, as a part of the Tucson Invitational, and there will not be a live feed on Stretch, which on a lot of times our home games in particular, our broadcast team here today, Kyle and Scott are here, but on the road, one of the ways you can follow us is we also do our games online on an app called Game Changer. And so if you go to Game Changer, you can follow our play-by-play live statistics that way until we get back here at home. And so we hope that you come out and watch it. Our first home game isn't until the end of March when we get back from our trip. Excited to have people come out to Watson Field. I feel like it'll be a very fun and good product. Excited for these guys, and just look forward to seeing you at Watson Field. All right, thanks.